welcome back to the Kerbal Space Program. Meanwhile, our first program is experiencing technical issues. We are not going to stay idle, and we're going to launch another series. In this series, we're going to embrace extra challenge, and we're going to use Kerbal Space Program with a grand amount of mods, namely the real star system or solar system, which makes the Kerbal and everything else approximately 10 times larger. We're also going to use realistic tech tree with progression from unmanned flight to the manned flight and beyond. We're going to use remote tech so that we can just launch stuff into interstellar and interplanetary space. And we are going to use deadly re-enter mod, which will add basically re-enter heat and won't allow us to re-enter at incredible speeds like 5, 6, 8,000 meters per second and survive. And here we are trying to design our first rocket. And here you can see the first modded part we have. It's a stretchable fuel tank. Basically, it's a fuel tank you can change to whatever size you want. If you want the biggest fuel tank, just drag it around a little bit and it becomes bigger, just like it goes on the screen, like right now. As you can see, amount of fuel is increasing, and we can basically make any kind of fuel tank we want and need. One additional thing that we're doing is we're using the different science experiments for this program. What that means is that we won't be able to just spam some scientific equipment and get the science out of thin air. What we'll have to do is we'll have to first gather some scientific data and then spend the scientific data to use the experiments. The catch is that different kinds of probes and different kinds of experiments can only be used in different kinds of environments. So we won't be able to just put a probe on the launch pad and create science out of nothing. It will just not work. So, to conduct our first experiment, we need to get into the higher Kerbal atmosphere. That would be approximately 30,000-40,000 meters. So here is our little spaceship. Well, not really a spaceship, because it doesn't go to space, but a rocket. And we throw in the Kerbal engineer on it, just to check if everything is in order and if it's going to actually fly and not just going to fall down to the ground. As you can see, our thrust to weight ratio is in order, or should I say over the top, because the second stage got thrust to weight ratio of more than 12, and it should definitely get us somewhere into the upper atmosphere. So let's add some launch clamps. And let's head to the launch pad. At this point I realized that there is something missing in our spaceship, and these are the parachutes. So let's head back to the VAB and add them. parachutes are going to be integral part of our design, because we can't actually transmit our science. We need to get it back to this planet, or it will not work. And here we are again on the launch pad. Everything seems to be in order. The staging is done correctly, and we launch. As you can see, our thrust is approximately at 1/3, but we are gaining the speed at pretty nice rate nonetheless, and it is a good thing. We could of course have thrusted to the full, use the full throttle, but that wouldn't be very nice, because our spaceship can be destroyed by the atmospheric drag, and we don't want that. Our antennas can be destroyed by the atmosphere, and we won't be able to control our ship, and that would mean that we will lose our mission. And we're at 7,000 meters. We're still in a very thick part of the atmosphere, because the planet is actually rescaled, and even at 10,000 meters we are still in the most thickest part of the atmosphere. So the gravity turn and everything should be a little bit changed for that. And now at approximately 15, 16, 17,000 meters, we can think about starting our gravity turn. And the gravity turn is now. And we're going to stage our first stage, and you can see how fast we're now going to gain velocity now. And as we are in high atmosphere, we can now start gathering data for our future scientific endeavors and experiments. And we gathered sufficient amount of data. Let's perform the reading experiment and the sample experiment. In other words, we record the data from the instruments we have on board of our capsule, and we observe some kind of surface sample or something we took with us from Kerbin, and we record the results. And here we are. We don't have any more fuel, and because our capsule doesn't have reaction wheels, we are literally out of control. So what we are going to do, we are going to stage our booster, and we are going to fall to the planet Kerbin at approximately 1.5 kilometers per second, or even more, a little bit. Unfortunately, our capsule is not exactly aerodynamic and doesn't want to fall. Oops! We lost our antennas, we lost our parachutes. We're going at Mach 4. That is 4 times the speed of sound. And you can see the nice hypersonic effects happening behind our capsule. Looks like it is not going to survive. And we are falling at 70 meters per second. Bam. We have to try again. This time, first of all, the launch will be 4 times the normal speed, because it's practically the same thing, just a little bit slower. We're not going to accelerate like madmen once we stage our first stage. We're going to throttle down and slowly gain some speed. And after we perform all of our experiments, we're actually going to cut our thrust and just fall down to curbing. Why we're going to do that and not going to go any further? Well, because we can't actually do anything with the same spaceship. We only have these 2 experiments, and we cannot perform any other experiments, like in lower Kerbal orbit or higher Kerbal orbit or any other kind of experiment. So here we are, our experiments are done, and we are falling down, deploying our parachutes, time warping a little bit because it does take some time. Our parachutes are successfully deployed, and we are time warping to the surface of Kerbal Ocean. Splashdown. And here you can see the derp that happens when you're in the water. Because capsule doesn't stop, it's very hard to hit the recovery button. But after some time we manage, and here we are looking at our signs recovered. In grand total we got almost 80 signs. Sounds awesome, right? We shall find out if it's really that awesome as it looks in the next episode. Thank you all for watching. Remember to like, dislike and comment this video in the section below. Let me know if you like this series more than the last one, or if you dislike this series more than the last one. Basically, just let me know. Once again, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!